Most gardeners blame rodents for destroying their beds, but the real problem starts much earlier, in the soil itself. When clay soil is left compacted, poorly structured, and full of uneven organic decay, it becomes a perfect habitat for tunneling pests. Not because rodents like your garden, but because the soil is soft in the wrong places, hollow in others, and unstable enough for them to move through easily. At the same time, that same soil is starving your plants of oxygen and locking nutrients out of reach, which leads to weak growth that attracts even more damage. So the real issue isn't just rodents, it's soil structure failure. One small change that helped me fix both problems started in the kitchen before anything ever hit the garden. I began controlling how organic waste decomposed, using a sealed compost container like the Enloy countertop compost bucket with charcoal filters. It prevents scraps from turning into that sour, oxygen-starved material that disrupts microbial balance when added to soil. I'll leave the exact one I use in the description if you want to check it out. It's a simple step, but it directly affects how stable your fermentation process becomes later in the soil. Now here's where things shift. Clay soil doesn't need more inputs, it needs controlled transformation. Most gardeners try to fix clay soil by adding sand, compost, or fertilizer. But clay doesn't respond well to random additions, it responds to structure. When clay is compacted, it creates predictable pathways for rodents. They don't tunnel randomly, they follow weak zones, air pockets, and moisture inconsistencies. If your soil is uneven, they take advantage of it. What actually changes the game is fermentation inside the soil profile, not surface composting, not scattering amendments, but controlled breakdown happening where the soil needs restructuring most. That's the hack most people never hear about. Fermentation changes clay from compacted to structured without aggressive digging. When organic material ferments underground under controlled conditions, it releases compounds slowly, feeding microbes without creating collapse zones in the soil. Instead of breaking soil apart like raw decomposition, fermentation softens it evenly. In clay soil, that matters a lot. Because uneven breakdown is what creates weak tunnels. Fermentation, when done correctly, smooths those transitions and reduces the hollow spaces rodents normally exploit. In my raised beds, I tested this by introducing fermented organic material into compacted clay zones instead of fully tilling the area. The result wasn't just improved soil, it was a noticeable reduction in rodent activity. The mistake that makes clay soil rodent-friendly without you realizing it. Most gardeners accidentally create rodent highways. They dig uneven trenches, bury raw organic waste too deeply, or leave pockets of half-decomposed material in the soil. That combination creates air gaps, unstable structures, and soft tunnels that rodents can easily navigate. What makes it worse is irregular watering. Wet-dry cycles in clay create cracks and voids that become entry points. So the problem isn't just rodents, it's how the soil is structured before they arrive. So, let's talk about how fermentation actually disrupts rodent pathways. When properly fermented organic matter is introduced into clay soil, it changes the internal structure in three important ways. First, it increases microbial density in compact zones, which stabilizes soil particles and reduces hollow spaces. Second, it creates consistent moisture distribution, which removes the dry crack pathways rodents use to travel. Third, it slowly binds soil particles into more uniform aggregates instead of loose, collapsible sections. The result is soil that feels solid and continuous rather than patchy and uneven. Rodents avoid predictable resistance. They prefer soil that is easy to collapse and move through. Fermentation reduces that advantage. Now, how do I apply fermentation in real clay beds? In practice, I don't flood the soil with organic matter. Honestly, that's where most people go wrong. Instead, I introduce small controlled zones of fermented material about 10 to 15 centimeters below the surface. Each zone is mixed with dry carbon material like shredded leaves or straw to balance moisture and airflow. Then I cover it with clay soil and leave it undisturbed. Over time, microbial activity spreads outward, improving surrounding structure without creating sudden collapse pockets. This slow integration is what makes the difference between stable soil and rodent-friendly soil. Why does timing matter more than quantity? One of the biggest misconceptions is that more organic material equals better soil. In clay, that can actually make things worse if it's not timed correctly. If you introduce too much material at once, especially fresh or partially broken down matter, you create fermentation hotspots. Those hotspots collapse unevenly and create weak zones. What works better is staged fermentation, small amounts introduced over time so the soil adjusts gradually. In my systems, I space out applications by several weeks rather than doing everything at once. That consistency keeps the structure stable. Rodents respond to structure, not just food. Most pest control strategies focus on repellents or traps, but underground rodents are structural opportunists. If the soil is easy to tunnel through, they will move in regardless of food availability. If the soil is dense, stable, and biologically active, they lose interest because movement becomes inefficient. That's why improving clay structure through fermentation has a secondary benefit. It changes the physical environment in a way that discourages tunneling. In one of my test beds, rodent activity dropped significantly after 2 cycles of controlled fermentation. Not because anything was added to repel them, but because the soil stopped offering easy pathways. Why mulch strengthens the effect even further. Once fermentation is in place, surface protection becomes critical. Mulch stabilizes temperature and moisture, both of which affect how fermentation continues underground. In clay soil, I apply a mulch layer of 5 to 8 centimeters to prevent surface cracking and reduce moisture fluctuations. That stability keeps the fermentation zones consistent instead of breaking down unevenly. Without mulch, the system becomes unpredictable again. This method works in containers too, but scaled differently. In container systems with heavy soil mixes, clay behavior still appears in compacted zones. I introduce very small fermentation pockets, about 5 to 8 centimeters deep, mixed carefully with organic matter and carbon material. The key is avoiding saturation. Containers can shift quickly into anaerobic conditions if overdone, but when balanced correctly, the same structural improvements occur. Better drainage, fewer voids, and less collapse over time. Even hydroponic systems reflect the same principle indirectly. Hydroponics doesn't use soil, but structure still matters in the root zone environment. When oxygen distribution, nutrient flow, and microbial stability are balanced, root systems stay healthier and more resilient. In soil systems, fermentation is one way of achieving that stability. Different systems, same principle, eliminate weak zones, stabilize flow, and reduce inconsistency. The biggest mistake that keeps clay soil problems repeating. Most gardeners fix symptoms instead of structure. They chase rodents, add chemicals, or patch damaged areas without addressing why the soil is vulnerable in the first place. But until the soil itself becomes stable, the problem keeps returning. Fermentation solves the root cause by changing the physical and biological structure together. That's why results compound over time instead of resetting every season. If you're serious about improving clay soil, this is the kind of shift that actually matters. Subscribe if you want more real, tested methods like this, focused on how soil actually behaves, not just surface-level fixes. What changes when clay soil becomes stable? Water stops pooling in random pockets, roots grow deeper instead of spreading shallowly, rodent activity decreases because tunnels lose structure, and most importantly, soil becomes predictable instead of reactive. That predictability is what allows consistent gardening success, bringing it all together. The fermentation hack isn't about adding something new to fight rodents, it's about changing the environment so rodents no longer benefit from it. When clay soil is transformed through controlled fermentation, it becomes more uniform, more stable, and less attractive for tunneling pests. At the same time, plant growth improves because roots finally have access to oxygen, moisture, and nutrients in a balanced system. If you know someone struggling with rodent damage or stubborn clay soil, share this with them, because once you understand how fermentation reshapes soil structure, you stop reacting to pests and start preventing them through design, and that's where real long-term garden stability comes from.